Good evening. Leading our news bulletin for tonight, provisional statistical figures for the Niue International Merchandise Trade for 2012 has been released by the Stats Office, with Nonu juice showing an extensive rise in export figures, 15.7%, followed by taro exports 3.7%, honey at 0.9%, honey extracts at 0.6%, and coconuts at the bottom of the list with 0.2%. Total imports for 2011 show a figure of $16,806.9 and total exports $1,347,605. Of the total exports, domestic exports increased by $5,591,134, or 37.6%, whilst total exports increased by $9,053, or 0.7%. The increase in total exports, which was somewhat small, saw a small increase of $997, or 0.3%, in exports, and was further driven by an increase of $8,055, or 0.8%, in re-exports. In 2011, Niue recorded a trade deficit of $15,459,347 when compared with the 2010 deficit of $11,177,266. The 2011 deficit was 38.3% higher. The higher deficit is mainly because of the general increase of volume of imports, especially in the imports of fuel, building materials, frozen food, and electrical wires. The highest imported food product is poultry, followed by corned beef and cooking flour. Miscellaneous also featured in the imported figures, which include personal effects. Statistician Kimray Vaha said the personal effects figure is harder to determine as values are usually estimated rather than show the actual. He said it is concerning to realize the huge difference in trade figures. However, he said Niue Chamber of Commerce is showing interest. It could encourage more substituting businesses on the island to offset the unbalanced trade deficit, like that of vegetable farming, poultry, and so on. The figure, says Mr. Vaha, is based on Niue's major trading partner, New Zealand, but there are minor trading partners that some figures will be based on. Some residents around the island are about to be hit hard by Treasury's advice to disconnect all electricity supply to customers who are 3 months overdue with their accounts. The advice by Treasury comes after many electricity customers did not pay their accounts for 3 months or more. According to a source at the department, more than 200 customers out of more than 800 customers are overdue with their accounts. That could mean many households on the island will be in the dark this month. It has been a while since such actions were taken by the department that saw many customers front up to pay their accounts when the same advice was issued previously. When this news went to air, we have not received a figure of how many households will be affected by this decision. The Health Department is continuing to monitor the dengue fever outbreak on the island, with no new cases recorded this week. Acting Director Manila Nosa says that the cumulative number of confirmed dengue fever cases on the island is now over 60, but all have recovered from the illness, and that on average every week they see 3 or 4 new cases. Sometimes there are no cases, such as this week. Health officials say the cold weather lately has also seen an increase in people presenting to hospital with flu-like symptoms, which is expected for this time of the year, but the cases have been mainly mild symptoms. The flu and dengue have similar symptoms, but it would be best to see a doctor to confirm and determine whether it is dengue. In line with the ongoing public awareness campaign regarding dengue fever that has spread to outer villages in very small numbers, the department has their ongoing vector spraying programs to get rid of mosquitoes. Mr. Nosa says that the health staffs are monitoring both situations closely, and there is no need for people to panic. Investment in tourism accommodation on the island is on the increase, especially in Tamkotonga. The latest development will see the construction of a new unit, observation deck and swimming pool in a secluded spot in the village. A private Canadian investor has put funds towards this venture, investing in what is considered prime real estate. leasing land for the next 30 years. Local businessman and landowner Ricky Makani says that the process has been cumbersome, but it is worthwhile with a focus on reaping benefits in the future. Unlike many village development proposals in the past marred with collective interests and land disputes, this private arrangement has been signed and settled with work already on the way. Mr. Makani says that there is great potential for investment on the island, but people need to be aware of what agreements entail and negotiate terms that will be beneficial for both sides. Prime Minister of Japan, His Excellency Mr. Yoshihiko Noda, has committed assistance of up to $500 million to the Pacific over the next 3 years. Prime Minister Noda made this announcement through the Okinawa Kisuna Declaration released at the 6th Pacific Island Leaders Meeting held last week in Okinawa, Japan. 15 Pacific Island Forum countries attended the meeting that also included Niue. Building on previous commitments of the PALM process, including Japan's support in line with the Pacific Plan, the leaders discussed ways of enhancing cooperation with particular focus on response to natural disasters, environment and climate change, sustainable development and human security, people-to-people exchanges and maritime issues. Many of the leaders thanked Japan for its past assistance to the Pacific, amounting to $493 million over the last 3 years. Premier of Niue, Honourable Toketa Alangi, spoke frankly about the need to change the old fisheries business models inherited by the region. He said it's not a secret that the resources create huge wealth for island neighbours, and leaders must look at means of improving the fisheries business model to more effectively share these proceeds. Supporting this, the president of Kiribati stated that if the region received its fair share of returns on fisheries, it would not need overseas development assistance to effectively respond to the region's many challenges, including climate change. As well as the PALM meeting for leaders, Japan also hosted a young PALM meeting in which 2 of Niue's representatives attended. We hope to speak to them in the near future. Niue Tourism is reveling in a successful week of cycling events for Ride the Rock. The first Round the Rock bike race got off to a great start yesterday morning, with over 20 keen cyclists taking up the challenge, starting in Alofi in the early hours of the morning, heading north. The concept behind Ride the Rock was to attract tourists to compete in the events and combine that with a holiday, some innovative marketing techniques to attract international competitors.
We felt if we really wanted to attract some international competitors, which is the purpose of Rally of the Rock, to start with, that we needed to create a week of experiences and events to attract a few more people, make it worth your while, so to speak. So we came up with Ride the Rock as the concept of the week, which includes Rally of the Rock and Round the Rock. So it was really impressive. We had 25 riders this morning. We had 33 or 35 riders in Rally of the Rock the other day. But it's really great to see the amount of international riders that we got this year. I think it was pretty daunting for a few of the local competitors when they saw these bikes coming off the plane on Friday, but exciting at the same time. The really pleasing thing for us is that the feedback has been really, really positive from those that attended, and I think next year is going to be much bigger and better, and of course we have our triathlon in November as well, Rockman, and I think a few of them are already planning to come back. I know a couple were leaving their bikes here to actually come back for that as well. So yeah, exciting times. It's been a very successful week.
Niue Tourism say that most of the competitors were international riders, but the locals put up a good challenge using their knowledge of the course versus the visitors with their vast experience and superior bikes.
They're all hobby riders, but in saying that, they compete, quite a few of them compete competitively in New Zealand. I think total internationals was about 27 in total. Some only competed in Round the Rock, some only competed in Rally of the Rock as well. But they're certainly more than your, I guess you'd say, your average cyclist. You know, these guys have got some pretty expensive gear. They invest a lot of time and effort into training and so on, and They look for new events like this to come to experience, and that's how they combine a holiday with doing an event, and hey, hopefully win some money along the way as well. So it just showed a bit of training, and you can be up there with the top guys. And it was good to see some of our local guys really kept pace with them.
The fastest time registered in the men's category was 1 hour and 58 minutes. That went to Ryan Locke. Second placing went to John McGregor with 2 hours and 1 minute, and in third place Tofo Poletama with 2 hours and 8 minutes. In the women's division, Andrea Livingston clocked a time of 2 hours and 2 minutes, the third fastest overall. Lee Robertson 2 hours and 17 minutes, and Sumintra Tano with 2 hours and 26 minutes. All but one completed the course, but the event was a major success and the response has been positive, with many of the international riders keen to return next year. That concludes our news bulletin for tonight. We do hope that you can join us again next week, and we do hope that you enjoy the weekend ahead. Don't forget to check out the Hakupua Tour show day this coming Saturday.